Hey guys, welcome to my channel. This is Luke Travels and my name is Luke. I am a traveling missionary following and trusting Jesus in my everyday life. So welcome. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe to the button below and hit that bell item so you know exactly when I post my next video. So in this video I'm going to share a story of God showing up when I needed Him the most. So about 3 years ago I was on a mission trip to about 13-14 countries in about 9 months. Just spreading the gospel and just really loving people like Jesus loved. So in Bolivia we were on a faith-based journey where we just really trusted Jesus in everything we do, and that's a Luke 10. So when you look in the Bible what Luke 10 actually means, it actually is where Jesus sent out His 72 into the nations, heal the sick and raise the dead, and really just spread the gospel and really spread Jesus is coming back and just preparing the ground for Jesus. So that was what we did. So the disciples were sent out two and to all different areas, but our journey we were sent out in 3. We were 3 people in our team. It was myself, Peter, Jeanette, and we were our core team in this that's going to do the Luke 10. Also, one big thing about a Luke 10 is actually, if you read, is God send you out is to fully trust Him. He'll be your provider. So you go out with no money, no clothes. So literally the clothes on our back, that was it. That was what we had. And we had to trust in God and really trust that Jesus was going to be with us in this time. So I was afraid. I was freaking out. I really did not know. I really didn't trust that God was going to show up for me. So for me it was really hard and difficult, and it was really crazy idea to just go out with nothing. I mean, my entire life I've had everything, and my entire life I've really never needed Him the most. But this is actually putting all trust in Him and just really seeing what He's going to do in this time. So about 2 days before we got put in our teams, but I mean I was screaming. I was screaming inside. I was really did not want to do this Luke 10. I was really at that stage. It's this spiritual moment where I couldn't and I didn't know where God was, and I was really feeling so far away from Him. I really did not want to do this Luke 10. So that same night we really had to just go sit down and hear from God. Where does He want to send us? What He wants to learn in this time? And I mean, I was so afraid. I was so not ready for this. So I mean, I heard nothing. I was like just fighting with Him, and I was screaming, and the fear just took over in my life. I really did not feel that I could trust. This is a massive step, so I was really not wanting to do this, and I was so afraid. So the day before, I asked my team, so that's Peter and Jeanette, I asked them to please come with me and just go do something. So we went to the zoo. We got together and I sat them down and I just told them, guys, I really am afraid, I'm scared, I don't want to do this. And they just encouraged me and said, don't worry, we will do it together. And I was like, I don't want to do it, I don't trust, I don't have the faith for this. And actually that night I was just fighting with Him, and I was screaming at God, and Jesus, why must I do this? And I made a list. I literally made a list, and I told Him, this is what I want in this time. If you don't provide anything, I am not going to follow you anymore. We were gathering in a group and we were just praying, and I was like freaking out. I didn't want to do this. And I just remember them telling me that they'll follow me, and that freaked me out more. So we walked in and a bus stopped, and obviously we were hitchhiking, so a bus stopped and they picked us up. And just in that time I was really excited, because now this is the first bus that picks us up. After the bus driver, they stopped in a town, and they stopped in front of this massive park, and it was well lit and it was becoming dark, and I was like really thinking to myself, this is probably a place that we really have to sleep somewhere. This is the place we're going to sleep. So we walked, and we walked out of the town, and eventually we got a taxi that picked us up, and he dropped us off in front of a church, and I'm like, yes, this is the place we're going to sleep. But there's nothing, it's dead, there's no lights on, nothing, and it's really becoming dark at this moment. And I still remember, I don't want to sleep in the bush somewhere. So this taxi driver's name was Pablo, and he was actually one of our men of peace, and we're driving back. So now we were turning back and we were going backwards towards where we were coming, and I just remember I'm like freaking out. It's like, we need to go the other direction. Why is this guy not going the direction we want to go? And just at some point he put in music, Spanish Christian music, and I just felt at peace. And at some point he just mentioned that like he's taking us to his English speaking friend. So as we were driving back to this town again, it was the same town that the bus stopped, and I still remembered like, this is the place we need to be in this town, but nobody listened to me. And then God brought us back to this town. So Pablo took us to his English speaking friend, and that's when we met William, and William was actually our man of peace. We didn't know it yet, but we met William. So Pablo took us to William, and we just met him, and we tried to explain to him what we're doing, and he thought, no, we are some weird people traveling with nothing, with no money, no backpack, nothing, literally the clothes on our back, that's it, that's what we had. And I just felt in my heart that William was actually our man of peace. And I got the group back together, and I told them, hey guys, I feel William is the man of peace. What do you guys feel? And they agreed with me that they also feel. So basically after that, we went back to William, and so William had a house not far from where we were, and he said we can stay there for the night, and then they'll take us the next day, they'll take us further where we wanted to go. So we finally got into this house that William told us about, and we got there, and there was just enough place for 3 people to sleep. So I still remember that night, I'm super excited. We've got a place to sleep, we're not sleeping on the street. And so this is the first moment when I really realized that God is really looking after us. And it was such a feeling of relief, just realizing that God is there. And at that moment, things started to change. So we went to sleep, and the next morning we woke up, and we were really ready to go and see what Jesus is going to do. And William comes back, and William is so excited. He freaks out, he can't control his excitement. And I just remember, I'm like, what's happening? And the excitement blew, and he just told us, it basically translates to like, there's going to be 3 Westerners who's going to help him with his ministry. And I was just like, well, that's strange. And it went into detail, and the detail went in, there's going to be 3 people, 2 guys and 1 girl, and the girl is a strawberry blonde. And we're going to just do and help him out in his ministry. And I was freaking out at that point, because I'm like, no. This is actually God. God showed up for us. So we left, and he took us to his ministry, and basically we got there, and as we drove into the driveway, I remember getting out, and I was looking, and there's a waterfall right there, and I'm like, look, it's a waterfall. And Peter started freaking out, and I'm like, wow, this is really something from God. So at that moment, I'm like, Jesus, I believe that you're there. So just show us, what do you want to teach us? And in that moment, it was like really just this realization of, for so long, I've been searching, I've been really looking for God in everything I've done. But I mean, it had to be taking me out of my comfort zone, putting me into the most uncomfortable situation I could ever be in. And that is exactly where I met him. And that's where I realized that he's with me every step I take. So God went above and beyond to show me, and he knew exactly that I was supposed to be in this situation. Because if it was anything else, if it was me, had to sleep in a bush, I would probably have not been a Christian right now. So I mean, God knew exactly that I needed to be at that elderly center with William, helping them out with trust in God. So that's really when I truly saw God moving, and God really being part of my life. I even started crying. I wept when I realized that God is always there for me, and God is always with me. And I truly did not know why, because I am broken, I am nothing, but God loves me so much that he knew exactly what I needed at that time. That list I made, he broke it. He ticked every single box that I put on that list. It was an ultimatum, and we should not give ultimatums, but he ticked every single box. And I knew in that moment that God is real, and I will give my entire life to him. That was the moment when I realized that God showed up. Even in the toughest of times in my life, even in the most joyful times in my life, God is right next to me. God always shows up when you need Him the most. So this is what I want to leave you guys, that following Jesus is the best thing that you'll do in your entire life, because I know, and this is coming out of testimony after testimony, I believe that if you trust God with everything in your heart, God will give you everything you desire. And I believe that till the day I die. So I am a traveling missionary, following Jesus and loving the people, because that is what Jesus wants us to do. Everything changed after that Luke 10 for me. I have boosted my faith. And I mean, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying it's going to be all sunshine and roses. But I believe God showed up because He knew that I needed to see Him in that way. So God changed everything in my life after that Luke 10. And I can just give all the glory to Him. It went as far as like I gave up my life so I can follow Him. I am joining YWAM Norway, and I am going to make a difference there. I don't know what it looks like. This is the next step I'm moving into with Jesus, but I know that God is with me and God is always going to provide for me. So thank you so much, guys. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you guys remember the day God stole your heart? So please, if you would love, I would love to interact with you guys. So please share it in the comments below, because I love to hear stories about people and their God moments and when God really just showed up in their lives. I will always emerge in victory with God, because God is worth it.